Hey guys, back on the build, and I am a very happy camper today. The roof has been finished, steel is up, trim pieces are up. I'm in a great spot now. We have rain scheduled for this weekend, so not worried about that much anymore. And today's project is to finish the house wrap. I'm going to say probably 75% of it done. Let me show you what we have right now. House wrap, basically the gabled ends is all I have yet to do. And the other thing I want to do, the house wrap I put up with T50 staples. Probably not going to hold if we get some strong winds. So I'm just going to take some leftover pieces of 2x4 and screw them to the corners just to kind of lock everything down. Give more surface area to fasten the house wrap to. So it doesn't blow off until I get all my exterior finishes done. But there's my roof. There's the color. It is actually a Galvalume. There is no color on it. It's just the steel with a clear coat on it. Going for the cottage look. Super excited. The guys did a bang up job. I have a play-by-play that I'll kind of piece together and show you guys the process behind how this was finished. Had a little hiccups with the manufacturer on the steel. Some of the trim pieces we had to redo, and a little hiccup from myself, but the roof is done and it looks great. Super stoked, happy. I'm basically weather tight here once I get the house wrap finished today. It's supposed to be calm winds today, some sunshine this afternoon, and I am fired up. We're gonna get this project dried in and I can start sleeping at night. There's the back gable that needs to be finished yet. House wrap was put up. All the seams have been taped. I taped both horizontal and vertical seams. Have to cut out my windows, get those placed. And the roof came out really square, both sides. I was impressed. So the contractor told me that that's about average for what he runs into with construction companies on roofs being square. So not too bad for my first build. Not that I want to do it for a career, but it gives me a lot of confidence going into the house build that we can make it happen. So there's a look at it, and I will check back in with you guys, give you a little play-by-play, piece together the video, and get that going next so you can see how the steel went up. Oh, that takes the notches it out.
It does the exact same notch. So.
Ah, so you don't have to measure.
Yeah. Sometimes when we didn't have this, we used to cut one and cut the same size and mark.
Oh man.
Mark and then cut.
Oh boy. So that's what keeps your panel square when you push it up.
If you don't do this right, then
yeah, it's cockeyed. Oh boy.
cut in here.
Okay, so that's the rib that shows. That goes over top, right?
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
But this one, that's why one little end. This one's a little longer.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna get.
Yeah. That actually snaps on
Yeah.
the other side. Yeah.
If I cut this more crooked, it'll allow this to bend in more. It has to cut right on there. Like I can't pass that little point.
I gotcha. Yep. All the little tricks of the trade once you've done it a few times, you know?
Yeah. If we have access, we'll see it at the end and we'll notch it off. Cuando miras esto un poquito de más, puedes apachurrarle un poquito y cortar aquí. Cierra los ojos, puedes buscar.
Nice. And then you just repeat it for all the panels. Very cool. So is that getting the corners for the corners ready, or
Yeah.
are you sliding it?
Yeah, this is like
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
yeah.
Nice tight fit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Very good. All right. That's the extended eave, and then we have these yet to go on the gabled ends.
This one the size.
Yeah. What you're seeing here is probably one of the more tedious jobs of this roof install. All the sheets were coated with a almost like a saran wrap on on the top surface where it's going to be exposed, just to help protect the clear coat. If you get painted panels, it'll help protect the paint, helps it from being scratched. What they're doing is pulling it off the rib, the male side that gets clipped under the other side of the next panel. That needed to come off, and we had to do that with they had to do that with every panel. I helped them out a little bit. Not the quickest or easiest thing to do, but it is necessary. The other thing you have to be careful of, when you flip the panels up over top of one another, they can clip into one another, so you just have to kind of watch it, and you'll see them flip them face to face to help prevent that. Once this is done, then the panel is ready to go up onto the roof. It's the extended eave installed. And that's what the panels will clip onto. First panel going up. This side they ran the sheets from left to right, and on the other side they ran the sheets right to left. We started with a full sheet on both sides and ended up with about a half sheet on the back. I wasn't too concerned about the ends looking the same because it's not facing the road. Saved a little bit of time by starting out with a full sheet. Was able to get it square and going straight. They made several marks at the top towards the peak and some marks at the bottom to keep the panels, the first couple of panels, running square. And my understanding is there's not a lot of play with these panels, so if you get started crooked, it's very easy to end up crooked on the other end. Luckily, the roof came out pretty square too, so that helped with the ease of install. Once the sheet is up, it hooks on the hem that you'd seen earlier, hooks on the extended eave, it slides up into place, and then the nailing flange on the right hand side, you'll see him, they're going to put all the screws in, pancake screws to hold the panel in. All the expansion, since the panels are steel, it's going to expand and contract with temperature, so all the expansion happens down towards the eave at the bottom end. The next panel will go on top. It'll clip on to the ridge on the right side of that panel, be screwed down on the right hand side, and again just hemmed around the eave end. At the very top towards the end, I didn't get any videos, but they put a Z flashing at the top, a Z strip, and that is what your ridge cap hooks onto. So the top of the panel is actually screwed down. The right hand side of the panel is screwed down. The left hand, the rake trim will have a cleat on it, and that gets clipped Z flashing on the left hand side, and that gets clipped over as well. So all the expansion happens to the bottom of these panels. All right, fast forward a little bit. Here's some extra panels going up. Show you the process, how they get them on the roof. They have a little foam cushion on the ground there that they set the end of the panel on, and you'll see how they tip them up onto the roof. About halfway done with this side, probably not quite halfway. These panels are short enough that not too worried about bending. They said once you get over 20 feet, then they really you have to be careful so the panels don't you don't bend them. Kudos to these guys. I can't do that on that roof. I can't work on the edge like that and be looking over. Just doesn't give me a good feeling. But these guys have done it before, so they're pretty comfortable on the roof. Here he slides it into place. There you go, it slides over. The guy at the top comes down. Once he gets it in position, they start snapping it in, and he just kind of walks up and uses his feet, clips that panel into place, and it ain't coming off. Then they run down the other side with several pancake screws, and that's it. Pretty easy going is from what it looks like from my perspective. Getting it started straight and square is important, and the layout, because you don't want to end up with a really small strip at the other end. So they spent some time before getting measurements and planning out how they want to do the roof, and it worked out really well. This was all completed in one day, by the way. I think there was 6 guys there working on it. After they got going, it was like a production line. And here we're fast forwarding again to the last strip. So this is the last panel. They took some measurements and basically ripped it down the middle. And this is like a sheet metal shear on a cordless drill. Worked pretty well. The next step for this final piece is to cut the nailing flange off. This would actually overhang the edge of the roof, so it needed to be removed. And instead of running you see on some of the YouTube videos, guys that roll the edge up and bend it up. Instead of doing that, these guys just cut the nail flange off, and instead of rolling it, they use the rib as the I guess part of the roof to hold that trim on towards the end. The other thing it does is, since they're not rolling it, is they know it's square, they know it's straight, so they don't have to worry about the roller making a perfect cut and rolling it perfect up on the edge. And then these two pieces overlap one another, put on the other end with some Z flashing with butyl tape underneath to make it waterproof. And it seemed to work pretty well. I don't see any issues that we could have in the future by doing it this way. They've done it before and seems to work really well. Here they snap the line. To get their last cut. Then once they get this piece cut, it actually sits underneath the piece on the right hand side. The piece on the right will get snapped on to the piece that's already on the roof, and the piece that they're working on goes underneath, will be screwed. These two pieces will be connected with screws, and they go up and make the final piece. Here's the piece going up onto the roof. Ends up being just about a half a piece. These roof sections are 16 inches wide. Well, at least they reveal 16 inches. And you can see they keep that plastic on it until the very end, just to help with not scratching or making marks in the finish. There you go. You can kind of see how that works. They lay over top of one another, leaving that ridge on, makes it a nice straight edge for the trim piece. Takes a little bit of finesse to get that exactly how they want it. They're finally happy. And then they snap it down. And you can see there how straight it looks with the overhang, the fascia board. These guys did a really nice job. Really impressed with their work. Hopefully get these guys to come back when we get ready to do the house. And then the right hand side gets a cleat put down on the fascia board, and the box trim goes over top, clips onto the cleat on the side, and then a section of Z flashing gets put also on the right hand side on the top, gets screwed down, and that's what keeps the rain from getting down underneath those pieces. That'll have a piece of butyl tape on the bottom of it, and it'll have a weather tight seal on the edge. And then you just repeat all these steps for the other side. Luckily, this roof was a pretty simple roof. We didn't have any roof penetrations coming up through, no pipes, ducting or anything, no valleys or hips to work with. It's just a straight gabled roof with a 612 pitch. I didn't get the very end, them putting the ridge cap on, but again, that's just Z flashing that's perforated with a filter at the top, and it goes in between each rib, gets screwed down, and then the ridge cap basically just clips over top of that. And that's the roof.